Welcome to Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance, and we are joined today by Don Knabe. He is a member of the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. We are in his district in Long Beach, California. It's been hot, no doubt about that, and hot cars create dusty cars, and dusty cars need to be washed. But we've heard that maybe some cars in LA County are being washed too much.
Absolutely too much.
Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that gets sort of blown out of proportion. The issue of the drought is much bigger than that, but as leadership, I mean, we should be an example and set an example. So historically, every time you got your car filled up with gas, they washed the car. So it's not like someone's asking to have your car washed.
Right. So you were not aware specifically?
No, it's not. I had no idea when it was washed. It would be clean, you come down. But the point is that we should set an example. And so I brought in a motion to sort of look at where we are drought-wise and limit car washes to once a month or whatever it may be.
But what's interesting is you were pretty audacious in terms of how you responded to the reports. I mean, your language, we screwed up. I mean, that says a lot that you were willing to use such colorful language to explain what you saw as a lapse.
Well, I think, it goes back to April and dealing with some drought issues. And the fact is, bringing in a motion, I brought in a motion to sort of make sure that we're drought safe and all those kinds of things, and it just looked bad. And and again, one of the first issues I checked, well, are we doing it with recycled water? And that's one of the things we're looking into, because a lot of our wash facilities, other than the Hall of Administration, are recycled water. So we're going to look at putting recycled water. The point being, hey, if when the car gets dirty, we screwed up.
Right.
Let's fix it and move on.
Let's talk, though, about whether that building is fit with recycled water, because it starts to beg the question about government, and it plays into this narrative that government, they're not on board. The rules don't apply to government. They're not part of the solution. Is that fair in this case? And is LA County on board? Is LA County the largest county in the country on board?
Well, I mean, we're trying to be. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of responsibility as it relates to water kinds of issues. We can't make it rain.
Of course.
But we can recapture rainwater. We're working very hard to do that through our Public Works Department and in concert with our Flood Control District. And so we have a lot of things going on. But one of the things, we had a report come back, the preliminary report. We don't have all the details yet, because I've asked for a discussion in the next few weeks about the issue, because it really didn't reflect well on where we were and what we were told being done, and it sort of showed that our water usage had increased instead of decreased.
Meaning the county as an entity, or LA County as a body?
No, LA County as an entity.
Oh, got it.
Okay, because we have a lot of facilities.
Of course.
And now we're not doing watering medians and losing trees. I just got a notice the other day on an area in my district going to have to pull trees out because of the water issue. So we're asking all of our constituents to do certain things, and so we should be a part of that as well.
But it does seem, though, that through your interim CEO, there has been an announcement about the steps you are or will be taking, including plumbing, low-flow plumbing, landscape modifications, cooling towers. So stuff has been done and will continue to be done.
I think, and one of the things I was going to clarify about this increased usage was really what we discovered, some of the numbers and time frames. It wasn't apples to apples, it was apples to oranges.
Sure.
And that's what the CEO was pointing out, particularly as it relates to some of our parks and our golf courses. We have a big turf removal program going on in the golf courses.
Recycled water, I know, is being used.
Recycled water, doing all those kinds of things. So we're hopefully, by the time the discussion and full report comes back, we'll be able to talk in real terms of what we've done. Because, other than the car wash issue, we've been working very hard. As an example, I went by a county building, this has been several months ago, and I saw a sprinkler system, and I saw water just coming over the side and going into the street and everything. So I called, the department and said, hey, what's going on over? So they go over, and sure enough. So, but it wasn't probably an area as big as your studio, but it wasn't the right thing to do, so they had to redo it. They had to create drought-resistant plants, and decrease the watering.
I want to ask, though, about how the public perceives they can participate in the drought and reducing water use. It seems as if, sir, there's a lot of attention on turf conversion. The county's looking at turf conversion, meaning going from real grass to artificial grass. And that's all fine and good. MWD is looking at giving rebates. They have given rebates. The rebates are done. They'll bring them back, we hope. But I've learned that in reality, what's more effective than turf conversion is low flow toilets, low flow washing machines. And I'm just wondering, because it's so visual, if we really should be focusing more on the appliance question as opposed to the turf question.
Well, I mean, I think they have been. I mean, one of the issues you have out there as it relates to not just turf, when I say turf conversion, not necessarily converting from real grass to fake grass.
Sure.
I'm talking about
Drought.
turf removal. So you decrease your watering areas, you decrease your watering times. Example, my own home. I mean, I used to water 3 times a week, 10 minutes, all right, on my timer set. Now it's twice a week for 3 minutes only.
Right.
All right, so you can do it that way.
But what about the question of appliances? I just wonder, again, I'm no expert, but I'm trying to become one on this topic. And from what I've learned, really, if you really want to decrease your water usage as a resident or even as an entity like LA County, you got to look at the appliance question.
Well, you do. I mean, I'm not sure what your point is, because the point being is, if you're asking, should we have mandates to dictate what kind of toilet you can buy or what kind of washing machine, I'm not there.
I hear you.
Okay? You can do common sense things. You can wash full loads. You can, what does they say? If it's yellow, let it mellow, and if it's brown, flush it down.
Sure.
During the night, those kinds of things. There's a number of ways that you can participate with the existing appliances. Now, I mean, the state is mandated. I think after July 1st, you can't buy these kinds of toilets in California. So, there's all kinds of things going out there. Take boat showers. I mean, in my own house, we take boat showers.
Meaning?
Well, in a boat, you have a limited amount of water. All right, so you wet yourself down, you sud yourself up, and you turn the water off. You sud yourself up, then you rinse yourself, turn the water back off.
Nice.
So you never use more than either washing or rinsing.
I want to ask about this winter. We keep hearing reports that we could see a monster El Nino, a Godzilla El Nino. In some ways, let it be. I mean, I hope that happens. But there are always ramifications to any event of Mother Nature. And I'm wondering, where are we in terms of preparation for a Godzilla El Nino?
Well, obviously, because we're susceptible to flash flood kinds of warnings, we have a big program in place. We move equipment into an area. We move the big things to have to redirect the heavy waters. One of the big things we'd like to do is recapture a lot of that water. And that's an issue. But I will tell you, going back to these other issues on turf removal and all that, one of my concerns is mudslides.
Right.
And because you're taking all the turf out, you're putting in plants that have just been in there maybe a few months. So I think you're going to see streets full of mud if we have a massive. Now, I've heard too, regardless of how big or monstrous this thing is, it will not cure our drought, our 4-year drought.
I've heard that as well. But on the question of mudslides, because we are so dry and because there have been fires in various portions of LA County, the mudslides could be quite dramatic. I think about in the Glendora area. I think that's outside of your district. Azusa. Right. I mean,
all the foothills.
All the foothills.
Bradford all the way in.
Right. I mean, they are at
Palisades.
Right. I mean, at serious risk. Is LA County preparing for that possibility?
Absolutely. We were preparing. I mean, we just went recently into prepare mode because of the storm warnings and flash flood warnings that hit in our particular areas, particularly in the fire areas. So we know how to move equipment. We practice that. We plan for it. Again, I mean, could something happen where we're just totally overwhelmed? Absolutely.
Right.
And the overwhelming part of this is going to be the fact that the turf doesn't have the ability to suck in the water. And so can you capture that? Can you prepare for the mudslides that go with it? I mean, people's yards. I mean, I know what I've done in my own yard in drought-resistant plants. I mean, if there's a major rain, it's going to wash right onto my grass.
His name is Don Knabe. He is a member of the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. My name is Brad Pomerance in Long Beach today. This is Charter Local Edition.